unlocking the dark secrets of the hidden treasure parable. You won't believe what it reveals. In a small town nestled between towering mountains and thick, whispering forests, an ancient tale lurked in the shadows, holding the secrets of riches beyond imagination. The air crackled with mystery, and every old rock and tree seemed to know the story. Legend spoke of hidden treasure, buried away from greedy hands, waiting for the one brave enough to uncover its truth. What if it wasn't just a story? What if this parable was hiding the kind of secrets that could change lives forever? They called it the parable of the lost gold. A story passed down through generations, iterated with wide eyes and trembling voices. The clues were scattered like leaves in the woods. A sunken ship caught in the river's twist, a ghostly figure that roamed the old mill at midnight, even the number 12 etched mysteriously into bark across the town. Each detail felt like an electric jolt, pulling people in deeper, sparking imaginations and igniting curiosity. One foggy evening, as shadows slid over the cobblestone streets, a group of townsfolk gathered in the flickering glow of a bonfire, their breaths visible in the chilled air. They huddled close, eyes darting with excitement and a hint of fear. Whispers rippled through the crowd, casting an eerie spell. Have you heard the stories? They say the treasure is cursed. The crackle of the fire momentarily drowned out the worries hanging like heavy clouds over them. Could the treasure be real? Was there truly a curse that would follow anyone who dared to seek it? Adrenaline pumped through their veins, and the thrill of possibility washed over them like a wave. They felt compelled, drawn to the mystery that clutched their hearts. And just as the tension peaked, one brave soul stepped forward, voice trembling but determined. Let us uncover it. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon, and while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As the fire crackled louder, they felt the atmosphere shift. An unexpected chill snaked through the crowd, a tangible whisper of warning. Was it just the wind, or something else? The shimmering embers rose like floating spirits, swirling into the dark sky. The brave soul glanced at the others, eyes wide, heart racing. But something felt off. An uneasy silence fell over them, hearts pounding louder than the crackling fire. Could the secrets of the parable of the lost gold truly change their lives? Were they ready to dare the shadows, unearth the truth, and confront the cursed stories that lurked in the night? As they contemplated their next move, a sudden scream pierced the air, freezing everyone in place. All eyes turned in horror, uncertainty crashing over them like a tidal wave. What were they about to uncover? As the scream echoed through the stillness, a collective gasp rose from the gathered townsfolk. Fear gripped their hearts, and wide eyes darted around as the source of the terror morphed into a shadowy figure stumbling through the darkness. Panic spread like wildfire. Is that? Someone stammered, too terrified to finish their thought. The figure lurched into the light, chest heaving and face pale, drenched in sweat. It was Martha, the town librarian, known for her stoic demeanor and vast knowledge of the local legends. Today, though, her terror was palpable, and it sent shivers down the spines of those around her. Martha, the brave soul from moments ago, took an apprehensive step forward, voice shaky. What happened? What did you see? Her eyes, usually sharp with wisdom, were now wide and glassy, as if she had glimpsed something unspeakable. It's not just a story, she gasped, looking around at the surrounding crowd. Something is hidden in the woods, something dark. I saw it. Questions hung in the air, thick as fog. Whatever shadow had unsettled her seemed to seep into the crowd, freezing them. The children huddled closer to their parents, and murmurs flitted like restless birds among the adults. What do you mean? Another voice broke through the silence, edged with urgency. What did you see, Martha? She took a deep breath, gathering whatever courage remained. I was searching for books in the old mill when I heard the whispers. They were calling me. I thought it was my imagination. But when I turned, I saw him, the ghost of the mill. Gasps rippled through the crowd, panic rising. The legend of the ghostly figure had always been just that, a legend. But now, as the flickering flames illuminated the fear on their faces, it felt all too real. He pointed to the forest. Martha continued, voice trembling as she tried to steady herself. And I heard the name, the Gold Keeper. He guards the treasure, and he is not pleased. The crowd exchanged anxious glances. The tales of the Gold Keeper's wrath were well known, but to hear it confirmed by a witness sent an electric ripple of dread coursing through them. Were they truly treading on sacred ground? What are we doing? The brave soul whispered, doubt seeping in. Are we prepared for whatever awaits us out there? A silence fell like a heavy curtain, the crackling fire their only comfort against the encroaching dark. Then, the edges of determination began to emerge, just like the flames licking at the night air. We can't turn back now, someone shouted, rallying the spirits of the group. But as they steeled themselves to confront the shadows, a sudden roar echoed from the darkened woods. It was a sound like thunder, resonating off the mountains, causing leaves to shake and the ground beneath them to tremble. What was that? Someone screamed, fear twisting their voice. Suddenly, trees began to sway violently, and the ground shuddered. The once welcoming woods transformed into a dark chasm filled with lurking uncertainty. They had crossed a line, and the entity awakened was demanding their presence. With hearts racing, they realized they were no longer just spectators of the legend, they had stepped into it. The whispers in the night were now telling them to choose. Uncover the treasure or flee and never look back. As the crowd hesitated, frozen by the clash of fear and adventure, a figure emerged from the darkness. The glint of golden light shimmered in their grasp. Will you take the chance? It spoke, its voice a seductive hiss that dripped with mystery. All eyes turned toward this enigmatic figure, and a new wave of fear surged through the group. They were on the brink of something far greater than treasure. Did they dare to find out what lay beyond the forest's edge? Would they succumb to the darkness, or could they unearth the truth about the lost gold? The answers hung in the thick night air, tantalizingly close yet maddeningly out of reach. As the figure stepped closer, reality warped, and the weight of their choices loomed large over them. What would they choose? Move forward or retreat? And was the treasure worth the price of whatever was awakened? Martha swayed slightly, the glow from the figure casting haunting shadows across her terrified face. The whispers around the fire turned frantic, hearts racing, as each person grappled with the decision that hung over them like a storm cloud. Who are you? A voice quaked, cutting through the quake of uncertainty. The figure, a silhouette against the backdrop of flickering flames, held its golden light high. Ah, the curious ones, it crooned, the voice velvet and eerie. You wish to know what lies before you. But beware. Knowledge comes at a price. Martha stepped back, stumbling slightly. What do you mean? What is the price? Her voice wavered, revealing her inner turmoil. The figure's smile was unsettling, unfurling like a snake. You must offer a piece of yourself to claim what lies hidden. Often, what you value most. Gasps erupted from the crowd as reality set in. This was no simple treasure hunt. Choices tangled within their chests, squeezing their hearts. Glancing at his neighbors, the brave soul clenched his fists. I can't. None of us can give up what we hold dear. The figure, its golden light flickering like a dying star, chuckled darkly. Every treasure has its guardians, its burdens. You may keep your treasures or unearth the darkness that festers, consuming everything you love. The implications rippled through the group. Tension thickened the air, twisting it until it felt suffocating. Were they ready to confront whatever evil lurked in those woods? And what about the ghosts of their past, the doubts, the fears, the buried secrets? A child cried out, pulling her mother closer. I don't want to lose anything. She was met with silence, fear radiating off the adults, freezing the very heart of the gathering. Yet one voice broke through, steady and defiant. If we don't venture into that darkness, we'll be stuck in this fear forever. A tall figure stepped forward, resolved. I'd rather face the abyss than live in the shadow of this legend. Who's with me? The crowd shifted, indecision creeping in like the darkness they faced. Whispers of agreement began to rise, sprinkling hope amongst the dread. We cannot turn back now, one woman declared, stepping toward the figure with a look of fierce determination. But as she approached, the ground trembled beneath them, a deep rumble that seemed to echo from the very core of the forest. Leaves rustled violently, a chorus of warning shrieks that silenced any lingering doubts. Submit yourselves to fate, the figure intoned, raising the golden light higher, illuminating hidden paths between the trees. Or embrace the freedom found in uncovering the truth. The choice crackled like static in the air. Instinct took hold, and a few stepped forward, drawn to the golden glimmer that seemed so alive. Martha's voice broke through, urgency lacing her words. Wait, what if this treasure isn't what we think? The legends they warn of madness, of despair. Legends are born from truth, the figure replied softly, almost sorrowfully. But truth can be a double-edged sword. Just then, a shadow darted behind the trees, moving quickly, too quickly. Gasps filled the air again, a fresh wave of terror as the woods seemed to respond to their fear. What was that? Someone whispered, eyes wide and flickering with fear. Perhaps it is time to decide, came the voice of the figure again, coaxing. But remember, nothing is what it seems. With that cryptic warning, the woods chittered with unseen creatures. The light pulsed, revealing remnants of what could be the path to glory or oblivion. Would they stand firm against the darkness, or would the shadows swallow their resolve? The forest awaited, wild and alive with secrets begging to be uncovered. As the echoes of their heartbeats mingled with the wind, they stood at the precipice of choice. What horrors would they face if they stepped out of the comfort of their fears into the unknown? And were they prepared to pay the price? The air crackled with tension, each person caught in a web of choice and consequence. The figure loomed over them, its golden light pulsing softly, as if it had a heartbeat of its own. Martha felt the weight of uncertainty pressing down like a heavy cloak. Time waits for no one, it urged, its voice smooth, yet laced with menace. Around her, faces flickered in the firelight. Some were pale with fear, while others glimmered with a fierce determination that made Martha's heart race. They were at the brink. Would they leap into the unknown, or retreat into the safety of darkness? A man with sharp features, someone she recognized, stepped closer to the figure. The defiance in his stance was inspiring. What do we need to offer? What piece of ourselves? His voice rang out, firm but trembling. The figure tilted its head, a small, almost cruel smile touching its lips. You will know what to give when the moment arrives. Only then will you grasp the weight of your sacrifices. Martha's insides twisted. What could she possibly be willing to lay down? A family heirloom? A dream long nurtured? Or something deeper, her buried fears? Her longing for acceptance? Don't listen to it, a woman shouted, her voice rising with indignation. It's playing games with our minds. Games? The figure echoed, laughter spilling from its grin. Oh, my dear, life itself is the grandest game of all. And in this game, only those willing to risk it all may claim the ultimate prize. The woods answered, branches crackling and snapping, echoing the tension between the people around the fire. Dread seeped into every crevice of their minds. We have to decide now, the tall man urged, turning to the group, desperation lacing his words. If we falter here, we might never have the chance again. Martha's heart pounded in rhythm with the pulse of the forest. Shadows writhed just beyond their sight. The figures of their doubts and regrets grew more pronounced. Maybe we should split up, came another voice, low and shaky. Anxiety spread like wildfire in her chest. The thought made her nauseous. Alone in the woods? It was madness. Do not fear the darkness. The figure coaxed again, its golden light swirling like a beacon. You will find strength you never knew you possessed. Martha felt a tightness in her throat. Deep down, a cowardly whisper screamed to turn back, to flee, nay, to hide. But there was also something else, an ember of bravery igniting in her chest. Together, she found herself shouting, despite the rising panic in her gut. We must face this together. Alone, we are vulnerable. But together, we might stand a chance. Her declaration hung in the air. In the flickering light, faces slowly turned to her, hesitation dancing in their eyes alongside the hope that flickered like the flames. Together, the crowd murmured, uncertainty mingling with courage. Sensing the momentum shift, the figure's eyes glimmered with a predatory patience. Yes, strengthen your resolve. But know this unity is not without sacrifice. Choose wisely when the time comes. Before anyone could respond, a thunderous roar erupted from the depths of the forest, shattering the momentary calm. The very ground beneath them shook, and the flames sputtered and flickered ominously. Faces paled as branches cracked like thunder, and darkness surged closer, threatening to engulf them all. What was that? Someone screamed, but panic ignited their voices, drowning reason. The figure then leaned forward, a dark promise in its eyes. Beware the beast that guards the treasure you seek. It is hungry for what you hold dear. Martha recoiled, a chill slithering down her spine. They had to move, but which direction would lead them out of the shadows? And as a chorus of terrified gasps filled the night air, a piercing howl echoed through the trees. Was this the call to action they needed, or the beginning of their end? The forest teemed with dark secrets, waiting to be unleashed. Would they face the beast lurking within, or would the shadows consume them whole before they ever reached the truth? The earth trembled again, as though warning them of the chaos lurking just beyond the safety of the firelight. Shadows shifted in the dense forest, stretching and twisting like living things. Martha swallowed hard, her pulse racing. We can't stay here. Her voice broke through the rising panic, and she turned to the others, firelight dancing in her eyes. We need to find cover. We can't just run blind, shouted the man with sharp features, glancing nervously at the figure that still hovered before them. Could be a trap. Every second we waste, the beast draws closer. Someone shouted, voice cracking with terror. The figure chuckled softly, reveling in their fear. Time is an illusion in the face of true peril, my friends. The choice is yours to make. Martha's heart thudded painfully in her chest. They needed clarity, and quickly. She searched the faces around her, and for a moment, resolve flickered in their eyes, fueled by her earlier words. But fear was a potent enemy, and uncertainty warped their judgment. We could head back to the village, the woman from earlier proposed, a hint of desperation lacing her words. Safety in numbers, safety? The figure's words sliced through the tension. The village is where the true danger lies. It watches you day and night, waiting for your moment of weakness. Martha felt dread curl around her spine. What did it mean? And what was waiting for them in the village? She looked at the faces before her, each one reflecting the same struggle. Stay together or take a risk for a chance at survival. Then she caught a glimpse of something in the corner of her eye, a flicker of movement, just beyond the tree-line. She narrowed her gaze, straining to see through the thickening darkness. Did you see that? She whispered, her voice barely scraping past her fear. Before anyone could respond, a blood-curdling roar echoed again, this time closer. The sound reverberated through the trees, magnifying their terror. In that moment, everything shifted. The decision was taken from their hands. We go, Martha shouted, adrenaline pumping through her veins. She could feel the energy of the group shift. They would have to move. There was no other choice. Follow me, she barked, and without waiting for a response, she turned toward the indistinct path that wove between the trees. Fear filled her stomach, churning as whispers of warning circled through her mind. But the fiery determination that had ignited within her soothed her nerves just enough. They had to take this chance. Behind her, the others stumbled to keep pace, the forest closing in as they plunged deeper into the shadows. Branches clawed at their skin, but Martha pressed on. her heart pounding an urgent rhythm that drowned out everything else. "Stop!" the man called out, and she skidded to a halt, breathing hard as the weight of their escape pressed down on her. "What if we run right into the beast? Then we face it together," she cried, the words spilling from her in a sudden surge of defiance. As if on cue, the underbrush rustled, and from the darkness, a hulking figure emerged. Its eyes glinted like coals, narrowing in on them with a predatory focus. Martha's breath hitched in her throat. This was no mere creature. It was the embodiment of fear itself. "Are you willing to sacrifice your fear?" The figure from earlier echoed in her mind, cold and taunting. They were against a wall, faced with an impossible choice. They could retreat into the shadows, away from the creature that hungered for their deepest fears, or they could forge ahead and confront what lay ahead. She steadied herself, knowing that the truth was not just out there, but buried within each of them. But would they be brave enough to face it? Martha took a step forward, and the beast growled low in its throat. For each step she took, the shadows around her seemed to pulse, urging her back, to safety, to retreat. "Do not falter," she whispered to herself, determination sparking anew. And as the creature crouched low, muscles tensed, she felt something shift within her. Her fingers brushed against something cold and metallic at her waist, a key she forgot she possessed, hidden beneath her coat. "What does it unlock?" The thought echoed inside her. But before she could explore that thought further, the beast lunged, teeth bared, a blur of fury. Would she use the key? Would it truly lead them to the truth or plunge them deeper into the darkness? The answer tangled in the air, caught in the claws of destiny, waiting to be unleashed. The beast lunged. It felt like time stretched to an unbearable slow motion. Martha's heart raced, every beat echoing like a drum in her ears. Could she really move? Her instincts screamed at her to turn and run, but the coldness of the key against her fingers steadied her resolve. This was it. The others were frozen, terror crashing over them like a tidal wave, except for the sharp-featured man who had voiced caution earlier. "Martha!" he shouted, jolting her from her thoughts. "Move!" With a sudden resolve, she turned the key in her mind, contemplating its purpose while the creature rushed toward her. "I will not allow fear to paralyze me," she thought, clenching the key tighter in her grip. "Martha!" This time the cry was accompanied by adrenaline-fueled action. The sharp-featured man, taking a step forward, drew a branch from the forest floor. He swung it wildly, the strike aimed squarely at the creature. "Get out of the way!" With just a heartbeat to spare, Martha dove to the side. The branch connected with the beast's snout, causing it to recoil with an enraged roar. Guttural growls mixed with the rustle of trees. Shadows danced, feeding off the chaos. Martha struggled to her feet. The scene before her felt surreal, a nightmare breaking into reality. The sharp-featured man was brave but reckless. Yet something told her that staying still was just as dangerous. "We need to move," she yelled, and with shaky legs, she sprinted forward. They darted through the undergrowth, weaving past gnarled branches and sharp rocks. Breath came in ragged gasps as they ran, but behind them, the roar of the beast echoed through the trees. A beast not just of flesh, but a creature born from their very fears. "Where do we go?" the woman cried, glancing back, and Martha could see the panic in her eyes. It was contagious. "Somewhere safe," Martha managed to shout, though she had no idea where that was. A flicker of light caught her eye, a strange shimmer that stirred hope. "There, a cave." She pointed, seeing the dark opening partially hidden by overgrown shrubs. "Are you insane?" the sharp-featured man panted, his eyes wide with disbelief. "Could be worse in there. It's better than being out here," she shot back, frantic urgency fueling her defiance. The beast was too close, snarling malevolently, its breath hot and foul as it pursued them. Martha didn't look back, didn't think. She just ran, diving into the cool darkness of the cave, the others following, their footsteps echoing within. Inside, the air was stale, the darkness wrapping around them like a shroud. She could see nothing. "Watch your step," she warned, feeling her way deeper until she sensed the rough, cold texture of the stone walls. "Are we safe?" The shaky voice of the woman behind her filled the silence, a whisper draped in despair. "I don't know." The words felt like lead in Martha's mouth. A voice in the shadows chuckled softly, the same one that had taunted them earlier. "You think you can hide from the darkness? Who's there?" Martha's voice quaked in the stillness, but she willed herself not to tremble. "I am everything you fear and more," it replied, the echo vibrating through the cave. "You must decide: face your worst nightmares, or let them consume you." Martha felt her heart clench. "Did I bring you here to be trapped?" She yelled into the void, anger mingling with her fear, a weapon she clung to. "We have a choice. We don't have to play your game." The echo laughed again, chilling and deep. "But everyone plays whether they know it or not. The key you clutch, what would it unlock if you choose to wield it?" The creature's voice hung in the air, heavy with challenge. Was it about unlocking her fear? Or was it something more? Martha clenched the key tighter, her whole being focused. They could not cower in the darkness, waiting for the inevitable. Her heart surged with determination. If she was to confront the shadows, the truth might just be the thing that would set them free. "Come on," she shouted, her voice cutting through the tension. "If we have to face this, we face it together." But as she stepped further into the cave, a low growl reverberated around them, and a pair of glowing eyes emerged from the shadows. "Then let the reckoning begin," the voice whispered, sending shivers down her spine. Would they find strength together? Or would the darkness pull them under, consumed by the fears they feared to face? The air grew thick with tension, muffled echoes mingling with the sounds of their own pounding hearts. Martha stood her ground, the key still clutched tightly in her hand, a small beacon of hope against the oppressive darkness. The glowing eyes hovered like cold, judgmental stars, piercing through the shadows. She focused on them, refusing to let fear overwhelm her. "Martha, what do we do?" The woman's voice quivered behind her, barely audible over the deep growl that reverberated through the cave. "Stay close," she ordered, the command sharper than intended. Panic was palpable in the cramped space, but she needed to take charge. "Why are we even here?" the sharp-featured man murmured, doubt etched on his face. "This cave, it's like a trap. We have to trust each other," Martha shouted, one eye on the eyes glowing in the darkness, the roar still echoing from outside. "Somehow, we need to confront whatever it is that haunts us. We came here for a reason." The dark laughter echoed again, but this time it shifted slightly, a hint of something else, something almost whimsical masked under its haunting timbre. "Ah, brave girl, but do you even know what you seek?" "It doesn't matter," she cried, frustration bubbling up. "Nothing matters if you're going to just stand there and taunt us." "Yes, what do you want from us?" the woman pleaded. "What I want," the voice slithered through the air, spreading uneasiness. "What I want is simple: your truth. Reveal what you hide, and I shall give you power. But should you falter, well, let us just say your fears will become very real." Martha gulped, her throat dry. The weight of the key suddenly felt heavier in her hand. "What do you mean by truth?" "Everyone carries a secret, a burden," it whispered, voice low, pressing against their fears like a physical force. "What lies within you, waiting to be freed." Suddenly, the shadows shifted, curling and writhing. A small flicker of light surged in front of her, illuminating the cave's walls, revealing ancient drawing symbols, twisted faces, and scenes of agony, joy, despair, and triumph. She stumbled back, recognizing faces, each a memory, each tied to pain. No, not this, but the images drew her in, memories long buried clawing their way back to the surface. "Martha, don't. Stay with me," the sharp-featured man shouted, but the deeper pull of the past had captured her soul. One image radiated stronger than the rest, a young girl with bright eyes staring back, her innocence etched into the very fabric of the drawing. A name floated into her mind like a haunting refrain: Annie. "Annie, my sister," Martha breathed, her heart pounding heavier with each beat. The memories flooded her with heat and shame, memories of the day she lost her, the day the fear turned into guilt. I thought I abandoned you. Tell me, what is it you seek if you do not face your fears? The creature taunted, its voice curling like smoke. Can you admit the truth? Martha felt the walls of the cave vibrate with her emotion, that familiar sense of loss tangling tightly with rage. I was scared. I thought if I turned away it would hurt less. And it has hurt you, hasn't it? A satisfaction carried in the voice. Now the choice must be made. Will you confront the darkness inside you? Unlock the memories that bind what feels lost shall be reclaimed. Tremors rippled through her, but fire burned behind her eyes. Suddenly, it wasn't just about confronting fears. It was about understanding them. Maybe the key wasn't simply a physical object, it was the understanding of herself and the power to forgive both Annie and herself. Together, she shouted, glancing back at the others, who hovered just behind her. We can't enter this dark place alone. But just as they pressed forward, the darkness shifted violently, the ground quaking underfoot. The beast outside roared again, a desperate sound that echoed their own trepidation. No, this is not the end. Martha snarled toward the darkness, clenching the key. We won't be consumed by our fears. We're going to fight. With a sudden burst of fear-fueled adrenaline, she thrust the key into the darkness before her, and then silence. A heavy stillness fell upon them, leaving them teetering on the edge of the unknown. What the hell is happening? The sharp-featured man shouted, clenching his fists from the void. A single word emerged, resonating with dreadful certainty. Change. Would the act of confronting her fears lead to liberation, or had she unleashed something far worse than she understood? The ground cracked beneath them, and shadows stirred, hungry and alive. Martha's breath caught in her throat as the cave walls trembled, a new presence rising to meet them. What would this transformation bring? As blurred forms emerged from the darkness, she could only wonder. The tremors intensified. The cave seemed alive, pulsating with dark energy as if it were a beast itself, ready to strike. The flickering light from the shadows revealed more grotesque figures, twisted versions of their own selves, draped in the fabric of their hidden truths. What is this? The woman gasped, her eyes wide and terrified, reflecting the horror around them. Martha, we need to get out now. No. Martha's voice rose, defiant against the rising tide of panic. We can't retreat. Not now. The sharp-featured man, caught between dread and resolve, took a step closer to Martha. You don't even know what you're opening. What if it consumes us? I won't let that happen, she insisted. With each second, shadows loomed taller, vibrating with a resonance that echoed their fears back to them, a threatening melody of betrayal, loss, and regret. The creature's voice echoed, smooth and sinister. You stand at the precipice of great change. Embrace it. Let your fears become the seed of your power, or risk being swallowed by them forever. Martha's heart hammered in her chest. Power? How can fear give us strength? She shouted back, defiantly. Fear is a mirror. It taunted, emerging from the thickened shadows, a distorted amalgam of their past selves. It shows you what you are and who you have failed to become. As the creature's form materialized, it began shifting into familiar faces, each one wrapped in the anguish of abandonment and guilt. Martha's breath hitched as she recognized every haunting visage. Friends she let down. Choices she regret. Most agonizing of all, her sister's smiling face morphed into that of a stranger, bitterly disappointed, eyes full of hurt. Annie, she whispered, clutching the key tighter, feeling its warmth pulse under her skin. I'm so sorry, Martha. Focus. It's a trick, the man shouted, his voice barely breaking through the fear that choked her thoughts. But it was too late. The past unleashed its shadows, twisting through the cave and wrapping around them like a noose. Martha struggled against the tug of guilt, but it anchored her in place. The weight of her memories pressed down hard, merging with the darkness that sought to engulf them. Tell your story, the creature intoned, its voice now a sinister whisper that scraped against her resolve. Speak your truth, and perhaps you will learn to set it free before it consumes you. What choice did she have? This was the reckoning she feared. She felt light fading from her surroundings as dread thickened, pushing against her chest. "Annie," Martha breathed, "I didn't save you. I let you go. I was terrified. I thought if I walked away you'd be okay, but you weren't." As the words bled from her, the shadows curled tighter, but with each confession, she felt a flicker of something new, a glimmer of courage. "I loved you, and I still do. I wanted to protect myself. I was too weak, too scared to admit that fear had paralyzed me." The creature recoiled slightly, its form distorting at her admission. "Speak to your other truths as well. Let them flow." Riding that wave of small triumph, she faced the other memories swirling in the abyss. "I was afraid of failing my friends. I was afraid they'd see me as broken. I told myself I couldn't help, but I know now that I kept them at arm's length to shield myself." The cave rippled as if echoing her revelations, the walls shimmering with a strange light. The shadows hesitated, like a predator sensing a shift in the dynamic. "Good," the creature hissed, an unsettling mix of intrigue and disdain. "But your secrets run deeper. What else do you hide within?" Martha's heart raced. This was both liberating and terrifying. "I'm afraid I'll never be better than I am. I run from challenges because I don't want to fail again. I didn't want to be the one who needed saving." A blast of light erupted from her confession, slicing through the dark like a beacon. The shadows shrieked, recoiling from the brightness, but the creature lunged forward, its face contorting with rage. "No, this isn't over." It snarled. In that moment, Martha felt the key pulse in her hand, surge of strength strengthening her resolve. What came next was unclear, but one truth rang out in her mind, a truth not just for her, but for the others as well. They were all tethered to this darkness. She turned to the others, eyes fierce with intention. "We can make a choice. Reveal your truths too. Let them shine. Let them extinguish this darkness." As they stepped forward, a collective moment held in the void. The shadows quivered ominously. Was this truly the path to liberation, or simply a reckless call that could doom them all? The darkness loomed larger than ever, twisting and writhing, and the air had turned electric. As shadows reached toward them, a fearsome roar erupted through the cave. "What will die tonight, our fears or our hope?" Martha shouted, urging them all to stand strong. Just then, the ground beneath them shifted violently, shaking the very foundation of the cave. Would their hopes take flight in the light, or remain trapped beneath the crushing weight of despair? The moment held, and then, without warning, the shadows surged forward, and everything erupted into chaos. The chaos erupted like a storm, shadows lunging at them with jaws that dripped darkness. Martha felt an icy grip on her ankle, a tangible reminder of the nightmares that clawed at her. She struggled against it, the heat from the key in her hand reminding her of the urgency of their situation. "Together, now," she yelled, hoping to rally everyone. The sharp-featured man nodded, his face a mix of fear and determination. The others stepped closer, a fragile circle of defiance. The ground trembled beneath them, threatening to swallow them whole as the shadows writhed, eager to reclaim their prey. Each second felt like an eternity. "I won't let you take us," he bellowed, standing firm. "This ends now." With bravery fueled by desperation, he clenched his fists, every muscle tense, ready for battle against the encroaching dark, as if sensing their resolve. The creature hissed, its twisted form surging forward. "You cannot escape your truth. It is the very essence of your being." The walls of the cave began to vibrate, the dark energy thickening into a brutal force. Martha squeezed the key tighter. "We've carried these burdens long enough. Our fears won't define us." Her heart raced faster, each pulse igniting her courage. "Let us end this together." In the split second that followed, the cave erupted into a cacophony of sound, dissonant echoes resounding off the walls as memories collided. Faces from their past flared into existence, each one a reflection of their darkest moments, betrayals, losses, and moments of regret. Martha locked eyes with the sharp-featured man. In that moment, words weren't needed. They both understood. "Now," they shouted. Together, they raised the key high above their heads. It sliced through the shadows, casting a radiant glow that pushed back against the overwhelming darkness. The shadows writhed, and the creature's cellophane laughter filled the cave. "Foolish mortals, you think light will save you?" Martha took a deep breath, remembering the love buried under guilt. "No, we think truth and acceptance will." And with that, the key ignited with a blinding light, illuminating every dark corner of the cave. The chaos intensified as if the cave itself were alive with rage, the shadows contorting and twisting in response to the light. Faces began to dissolve, the anguished cries of their past mingling with the deafening roar of the creature. A wall of darkness that had lingered for so long cracked under the pressure, like ice breaking in the spring thaw. "Martha," the voice of the woman sliced through the turmoil, filled with panic. "It's too much. We can't hold it." "I'm not afraid anymore," Martha shouted back, courage spilling from her voice. "None of us are." Each person standing in the circle began to echo her words, standing firm against the encroaching darkness. "Not afraid. We choose life. We choose hope." With every declaration, the shadows writhed more violently, thrashing as if they were alive. The creature snarled, its distorted face twisting in fury. "You think you can extinguish me? I am your fear made manifest." Martha's heart raced as she pushed forward. "You are only as strong as we allow you to be." The key flared brighter, casting shadows into retreat. The energy surged, obliterating the thick darkness around them, blinding and searing. But the cave quaked even more fiercely, and then there was a crack and ominous sound. The very roof above trembled. Pebbles rained down like sinister warning shots. Panic rose like bile in her throat. "Run!" the sharp-featured man yelled, but Martha refused to move. They had come too far, and fear had held them captive for too long. Suddenly, the cave began to collapse around them, stones and debris crashing to the ground, the chaos threatening to bury them all. "Martha!" The woman's eyes were wide, her face pale with terror. "We can't hold the light." With a final surge of strength, Martha held the key high, feeling the power of her words merge with their collective truth. Together, one more time, as the shadows thrashed violently, their energy converged into a blinding explosion. Would their courage be enough to survive whatever force sought to claim them? In this frantic moment, a swirling vortex of life and light exploded at the cave's center. Then, everything went dark. Had they succeeded, or had they been extinguished at the hands of their fears? As silence engulfed them, the only sound was the heavy thud of their hearts pounding in the dark, a quiet reminder that uncertainty now filled the air. The silence lingered in the darkness, thick and heavy like fog. Martha felt the weight of despair creeping in, but deep within her, a flicker of hope persisted. Suddenly, warmth enveloped them, and the air shifted, tinged with the soft scent of jasmine and sweet earth. Light filtered through the dark, illuminating the hollow space. Where are we?" A voice trembled, belonging to the woman who had once been so afraid. Martha blinked against the brightness flooding the cave. One by one, the others emerged, blinking like newborn creatures seeing the world for the first time. They were no longer cloaked in their fears. Instead, they stood beneath a radiant sky, surrounded by lush greenery, vibrant colors bursting with life. The shadows that had taunted them dissipated like smoke on the breeze. "We did it," shouted the sharp-featured man, disbelief curling his lips into a smile. "We made it through." Martha's heart soared as she took in the scene around them. They were not just alive. They were free. The burden of their hidden truths had transformed into something beautiful. A collapse of darkness revealed their strength. The key lay on the ground, shimmering faintly like a promise. "In facing our fears, we found our truths," she whispered, still trying to absorb the gravity of their shared experience. Embers of respect and camaraderie sparked between them, binding an unspoken agreement. They would not forget what they had faced. "I thought I'd lost everything," the woman murmured, her voice catching. "But I see now that I can rise above it. We all can." Tears flooded her eyes, glistening in the light. A wave of emotion washed over the group, powerful and cleansing. They had confronted the shadows inside them and emerged raw but renewed. Each step forward reminded them of the strength they forged in unity. Like warriors rising from an epic battle, Martha stepped forward, her hands trembling but determined. "Let us go home," she said, her voice steady. Together, as they began walking, their hearts lightened. Each footfall resonated with strength. Every breath filled their lungs with an exhilarating sense of freedom. The mountains loomed in the distance, a symbol of the trials they'd overcome. There was much left to discover about their lives, and they would embrace it, come what may. As the sun dipped low on the horizon, casting golden tendrils of light across the valley, laughter echoed among them. They had shared their darkest fears, stitched them together like a tapestry, triumphing over the chaos that had gripped their hearts. The town awaited them, and they returned not just as townsfolk, but as a family. The village was alive once again, each familiar face glowing with warmth and life. Together, they stepped back into the community, stronger and changed. They carried the story of the parable of the lost gold with them, transformed from a legend into a living testament. As they crossed the threshold into the bustling streets, a cheer erupted from the townsfolk. "You did it! You faced the dark!" A wave of emotion, relief, joy, camaraderie washed over Martha, sweeping her off her feet like a tide of love and compassion. They were no longer just seekers of treasure, but guardians of hope. This was where the true treasure lay. Each other. Each scar bore a story, every challenge a lesson. They would remember this, always never retreating from darkness again, but embracing their truths, standing together shoulder to shoulder. With steadfast hearts, they would weave their lives into the fabric of their town, sharing stories that inspired courage and compassion. The legend would live on, echoing in the hearts of those who chose to confront their fears. Treasure hidden in plain sight. Together, Martha whispered, her heart swelling with gratitude. Together, echoed a chorus behind her. And as the sun set behind the towering mountains, casting fiery colors across the sky, they walked into the future, hand in hand, ready to unearth whatever else awaited. The real adventure had just begun. Now, listen up. This is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm, and don't hold back. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this thrilling conclusion. And for the love of storytelling, don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who absolutely need to see this conclusion. They'll thank you later, trust me.